Hey folks, this is Lionel here with Cowboy Boots Hats and Western Life Enthusiasts, and we're here at the American Hat Factory, and we're here with...
Hi, I'm Cody Bates. I'm the VP of Operations, and we're going to give you a little tour of some hats. So
Right.
This here is a felt hat. This is a raw body. There's different fibers that make up a felt hat. You have wool, rabbit, and beaver. Sometimes you add a little bit different hairs as well, like mink or chinchilla in a hat. So what's the difference in X? Okay, so you see this big X from 7X all the way up to 1000X. Okay, what it is you have different compounds that make up the body. So you have wool, you have rabbit, and beaver. Okay, so what's the difference in those fibers? Wool is really thick. It's a straight-haired product, so it processes, but it breaks down extremely fast. So you add beaver and you add rabbit into the blend and do away with the wool, and it makes a tighter bond. The difference is too, on your beaver, if you look at it under a microscope, you'll see different little hooks, little barbs on the hair itself. So when it's processed, it locks together and stays locked together and does not separate. So you add, the more beaver you add, the better the quality of the hat.
All right, and this is how they come in, this is how they start in that deal you showed me.
Correct.
All right, so this is the starting process of a straw hat, right?
Correct. Every one of these straws are hand woven. There's no machine work whatsoever. On average, it takes 2 to 3 days to hand weave one straw hat. It's a pretty amazing thing to watch. Each one of these strands is about 3 foot long. There's glazed and there's non-glazed bodies. We prefer a glazed because it has a really nice sheen to it and a really pretty finish when it's done. Some people prefer a non-glazed. Also, each one of these strands, like I said, is about 3 foot long, and sometimes you'll see little knots in these hats. And that's where they get to the end of the material, they tie back in and start from there. But they always start at the top. You can kind of see the square, and they'll work all the way down.
Awesome. All right, so we're back with the straws. So what's going on here in this part of the factory?
Okay, so this is the first step into making a straw hat. So these guys here, they'll choose one of these saddles, and it'll have the size of the hat, and they'll choose a die. So the dies are aluminum block. So they'll set their hat over here. They'll put their hat on here. They'll get it nice and straight to vent. Make sure the band line breaks properly. They'll get it real nice. They'll put it inside that machine and it'll press. So all that heat and pressure on that hat makes a really nice smooth hat to start. So after they're all done, they'll go here on these racks once they complete the order. It'll then go into our lacquer room. It'll get its first coat of lacquer. We do 2 lacquer coats. Some people use a water base or an alcohol base. We use a petroleum-based lacquer, and it seals the hat. So if you get rain on your hat or it falls off in the pond, you can pick it up, put it on, and you're good as new.
That's that famous American hat product that they use that is awesome.
Absolutely.
What you guys known for?
Absolutely.
All right, so this is the next process in a straw hat making. What's going on here?
So right now we're cutting the brim down to size. So Anna's going to hand cut every one of those brims for the right size, whether it's 4-inch brim, 4 1/4, 4 1/2, or 5. She's going to do it here. And we prefer it to be done by hand. We do have machines, but we're a little more consistent by hand. The next step from there is what they call brim welting. And so that's when the wire gets sewn into your straw hat. This lady here, she's going to sew a wire in. Some companies, they tack weld their wires, they glue their wires together. We prefer to overlap. That way when your hat takes an impact, that wire will move with that hat. A lot of times what happens is when they're welded, they have a tendency to want to break. So this helps us not break them off.
All right. Well, let's see how it's done.
Okay.
All right. Now, is this the final step?
This is one of them. This will be the final step. After the wire is sewn into the hat, after that it gets put into the lacquer room for its final coat. So that's its second coat. Once it dries, it comes out here. This is the final press of the hat. So this is where we're going to make your hat nice and smooth and pretty again. Make sure everything's blended very nice. You can see the final product. How nice, pretty, and smooth everything is.
That looks gorgeous.
And when we come around, we test them. Make sure they have that nice pop, that good luster to them.
And that's how the hat looks without the band on the inside.
Correct.
By the way, folks.
Make sure you're getting that American hat quality that we're known for.
All right, now this is the factory press section of the straw hats, right?
Correct. This is where our rancher crease is done, our RC. So Jesse, the guy that's currently got his head inside the machine, he does all of our RCs. He does a phenomenal job on them. He's one of the fastest guys I've ever seen. But he presses every one of these hats. And when he's done, they get the same exact steps as all the other hats, but they have that really nice rancher crease to them that so many people love.
So for you folks that really like those creases, and you know you guys just want to get in and get out, get your new hat, there you go. American Hat Factory or American Hat Company does offer that.
That's right, we sure do. You know, there's a lot of people that want a hat. Sometimes they don't have time to wait for somebody to shape it. They need one right then. That is a perfect
Done
hat.
deal.
That's done deal.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, this is the first step of the hat, the felt hat process. As you guys could see, that's the same deal that you saw out there in the production. So
This here is a blocking machine. So this will stretch that brim out to the size brim that you want. Once she stretches it out, she's going to add a wood hat block inside the crown of that hat. It's going to give you the height that you need, the oval, whether you're long oval or round oval. It'll also give you your size of your hat. So that machine's got 36 fingers around it. Some of these machines date back to pre-Civil War era and have been modified throughout the years to fit our needs. So when she's done, you'll see the finger marks in the hat. Those will all come right out to our next process.
all right, so this is the next process, just a few feet over from the blocking.
So this will be our plating department. So plating is, we'll put a hat in between each one of these plates. We'll go in there upside down. We'll lock down, and you'll watch that brim draw up. And so what that is, that's a retightening of those fibers. So our first process was to stretch those fibers out, and we overstretch it. This right here puts everything right back into place. You know, some companies have set time frames. We prefer not to have a set time frame. When that hat is done drawing up and getting as tight as it possibly can, that's when we're done, take the hat off. Sometimes it takes 4 hours, sometimes it takes all day.
All right, so this is the third step.
Yeah, so this is where the hat will get pressed. You know, right now, these hats are kind of a blank canvas waiting for a picture. It has that nice open crown to them. Some customers prefer a pre-shape. We can do that here, or we can leave it open crown so the customer can draw the picture for their customer. After this process, they'll go to pre-finish and finish it. Okay, so this next process is pre-finishing. So this here is called a crown bouncer. So they'll put the hat on a wood block. They'll attach it to the machine. They'll slide their hat over it, and this arm will come back and forth. And what it does is it sands all the long, rough hair off, gets down to that real nice, smooth layer. So that silly that you're used to out of American hat. So you'll see here behind us, everybody finishing a hat. We hand finish every hat that comes through this factory. Nothing's done with just the machine. We touch it, we fill it, we look at it. Everything is still done the old way by hand finishing. Okay, here at American Hat, we hand cut and hand stamp every leather that goes into your hat. We'll add our logo and the quality on each and every leather. If you want your store logo, we can put your store logo. Some people have us put a specially made for into their leather. That way it gives it a really nice custom touch.
Now I had other hats, you know, not American Hat companies, that they I had the logo that was inside, it all went away. But never has it happened ever to one of my American hats.
Part of the reason being is we use a real leather, which is lambskin. It's a premium leather, so it gets put in that leather real nice and it stays.
Awesome, man. I love it.
So our next process here is what they call back sew. So it's the piecing of the two ends. This is hand fitted into each and every hat. It's trimmed for size. Once we determine the size, we sew it together. We put the bow on. The bow determines the back of the hat. Okay, so this next process will be sweat sew. So this is where they're going to attach that leather into that hat. So on the back of every leather, you have what they call a reading tape. So this is what allows us to attach it to the inside of your hat. You'll see this lady right here. She's going to put the leather into this hat. She's going to measure out her work first, make sure she gets it nice and centered. That way it's not crooked. Line it up to our mark.
Beautiful. There you go, guys.
Okay, so our next step is going to be trim. So for every 12 hats, we make a 13th hat. The hat gets finished with those 12. At the end, when it's done, we cut it down, and we'll make up the trim for that dozen hats. That way it matches perfectly. Made at the same time, all these hats are made. Now, on your hat that's 100X and above, it is the actual cut down from the edge of your brim that makes up your hat now. That way it matches perfectly.
That was going to be one of my questions, but you already answered it.
These ladies here, they'll put these buckle sets together. I'll hand fit them, hand cut them for every hat that comes through this line. And it gets our American logo there.
I love that pin.
Yeah, we're pretty proud of it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty proud to wear it too.
Well, we appreciate it. Okay, so this is tacking. This is where they're going to sew your band onto your hat. The next process is pot blocking. So what pot blocking does, it smooths out the leather inside your hat. That way it gets all the wrinkles out of it. Then it also is the final sizing of your hat. That way it ensures the correct fit. After that, it'll then go to inspection, where they go over every aspect of the hat, make sure everything is correct. Once it is inspected, once we say, okay, it's ready to go, it'll then be boxed and it'll be shipped to our warehouse.
All right, so this is the Keith Maddox wall. This is something that I really wanted to see, a big part of the factory. The founder, the innovator of the American Hat Company, and this is a memorial wall.
Correct. So this is some of the fun times and some of the memories and the laughs that we've had with Keith over the years. Keith was one of the greatest guys we've ever met. He never had a bad day. He had a bad 15 minutes once, and he never wanted to do it twice. He was the most positive person I've ever met. His wife Susan and Keith both, the girls, they're family. They're amazing people. But this is some of the fun times.
Now, I believe that from what I understood, Keith was a team roper, right?
Yes, he was a rodeo cowboy for sure, through and through. He was on the Casper, Wyoming rodeo team in college. Went back to work on the ranch with his dad and family. And he really enjoyed team roping, and he was exceptional at it.
Keith and Susan. Positive times.